when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Hey, this is Group B from 3rd Period English, and today we're going to be talking about dreams. Throughout Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, we hear reference to dreams many times, each reference more confusing than the next. However, despite these frequent mentions, the book never takes any time to clarify the subtext of these scenes. Instead, it throws us straight into the next scene with little or no warning or explanation. Today, we plan to educate ourselves and you guys a little more on the background of dream interpretation, and we'll continue that in our activity tomorrow. But first, we'll start with the basics. In the book, we never talk about what these dreams mean or why they signify that. We're going to delve into these dreams a little deeper by investigating dream theory in two main ways. First, through the lens of Jungian psychology, and second, through the less scientific approach of myth and legend. But remember what you learned today, because we're not going to apply it to the book for you. You may find it useful when we do our activity in the next class period.
Carl Jung was born in 1875. He was a Swiss psychiatrist who made many advances in the field of psychology. His research stemmed from and was influenced by his own curiosity about the way his own mind worked. He found himself to be simultaneously an introvert and an extrovert. He had a lonely childhood and spent a lot of time observing people. He, despite being surrounded by clergymen in his family, was not a religious man. He ended up following a career in medicine. In addition to medical school, he studied various fields in science, but also found the time to educate himself on topics like philosophy, mythology, and religion.
Jung theorized that the creation of symbolism is important in understanding human nature. His research was aimed towards investigating the similarities of symbols found in different religions, mythology, and magical systems that occur in different cultures and different time periods. To explain these similar symbols, he suggested the existence of two layers of the unconscious psyche. The first layer is the personal unconscious. It pertains to what the individual has obtained in his or her life, but has either forgotten or repressed. The second layer is the collective unconscious, which pertains to the memory traces common to all humankind. These experiences are called archetypes.
Got it? Jung believed that the psyche had various aspects which manifest in different forms in one's dreams. The more well-known archetypes that he speaks of are often the anima, the animus, and the shadow. These can be identified as various works of literature, not only as a part of someone's dreams, but someone as a real character. As you listen to this explanation of them, think of how it would affect your understanding of the book, and presume that certain characters, real people in the book, were simply a projection of the narrators or someone else like Santiago Nazar's psyche.
Let's begin with the shadow. The shadow sounds pretty ominous, right? Well, with good reason. The shadow was meant to refer to the whole unconscious, wherein the conscious mind does not recognize itself. The shadow can appear in dreams, usually of the same gender as the dreamer. So in a dream, the shadow would be a projection of your unconscious, but you would not see these aspects of yourself in such. An example of this shadow persona could be if someone believed that assertiveness is selfish, and so they let people push them around and resented them for that, but felt guilty about it. Their shadow would include this possible assertiveness and resentment.
Next, we come to the anima and the animus. The anima and animus refer to the structure that interfaces with the collective unconscious, corresponding to the persona that interfaces with the collective world. In other words, they have to be discussed in conjunction with each other, since they are the same concept. The anima is a female image, usually in the male psyche, and the animus is a male image, usually found in the female psyche. According to Merriam-Webster's definition, they reflect archetypal ideals of conduct. Put more simply, they seem to reflect a truer version of who you are. From one psychologist, it was suggested that the anima is the unconscious female aspect in a man, which can be personified as a young girl who is very spontaneous or intuitive, or as a witch, or as the Earth Mother. Whereas the animus can be described as a wise old man, a sorcerer, or often a number of males, and tends to be logical, rationalistic, and even argumentative, as it is the unconscious male aspect in a woman. Go.
Psychology, as Jung saw it, was also linked to mythology. He studied myths as well as religion and philosophy as he pursued higher levels of education. Jung said that the archetype is an inherited tendency of the human mind to form representations of mythological motives and symbols. This was the basis of knowledge upon which he began to found his famous dream theory.
Despite the fact that Jung spent time researching mythology, Jung's beliefs, and the beliefs of other dream theorists, are generally contrary from those actually believed in the Caribbean and the setting of the novel. As the Caribbean islands developed, ancient island storytellers served to be the source of cultural values and reference for many years to follow. These stories were turned into myths and legends, and they often proved to be a glimpse into their culture and into the past, often portraying repetitive symbols or themes which inspire modern-day superstitions and beliefs.
One specific example of this is known as voodoo. The word voodoo refers to as God or spirit in the African language. Voodoo originated in Africa, but is commonly used by the people of the Caribbean. This ritual shows that spirits are not evil, but that this practice is a medium for the people that come in contact with the god or spirit.
Similarly, superstition, myths, and other forms of magic were also commonly practiced in the Caribbean. Stories of physical spirits and ghosts were prominent in this region too.
As you may realize, the culture of the Caribbean is far from influenced by science or psychology, for that matter. Many of their beliefs originate from faraway lands and long-time ancestors. All aspects of life were taken in a spiritual manner. With that being said, the people of the Caribbean relied on this folklore to interpret their dreams in a more spiritual light.
To sum up, although Carl Jung signified the function of myths for dream interpretation, his archetypes are from a more psychological approach, which are remote from the Caribbean's culture and spiritual beliefs. Thank you so much for taking a little time out of your day to listen to our presentation. The next time you're sleeping, keep in mind that Jung and the Caribbean culture are there to help you better understand your very own subconscious.